This screencast is going to show you how to open up PowerPoint, change the dimensions of the slide, add a title, and change the background. To open PowerPoint, we're going to be using the PowerPoint that's on the computers for this project and not on Office 365 because it has some more tools available. So just click the Start menu at the bottom, and if it doesn't show up, you can start typing in PowerPoint. Often it will already be there to choose. So this is kind of the traditional way that a slide looks when you're using PowerPoint. This is the size and the dimensions, and it wants to add little boxes for you to fill in. But we're going to be using it a little bit differently. The first thing I want you to do is go to Layout, and instead of choosing one of their formats, I want you to choose Blank. And this is going to become just a canvas for you to set up however you want. The other thing we're going to do is change it so that it's something that would be easier to print onto paper sizes that are available. So to do that, we're going to go up to Design, and then on the far left here, we're going to choose Page Setup. And I want you to change the width to 8 and the height to either 10.5 or 13.5. And if you find that 10.5 feels too small as you're adding things, you can always go back and change it again. So now you can see it looks more like closer to a piece of paper. The next thing we're going to do is we don't want a white background, but because we're making this a poster, it's not a slideshow, we also don't want the background to be too busy. We want all of your graphics and text to show up really nicely on it. So we're going to go over to the right to Background Styles and Format Background. And this gives you all kinds of options. So if you want, you could add a little bit of a gradient to it if you want to, where it just fades in or out a little bit. Maybe a pattern, but you'd have to be really careful with that it's not too busy. So you could play around with that a little bit. Or you can just choose a solid fill. And remember, you want this to be a color that's going to be easily showing whatever else you choose to put on your poster. So I want to choose anything too dark. Also, if we want to print it, we don't want to print out a whole piece of black background that would use a lot of ink. So I'm going to click Apply to All and Close, and now I have my space that I can add my titles and pictures and everything else to. So the next thing I'm going to show you for today is different ways that you can add a title. Sometimes if there's not already a text box on here, then people don't know how to add text, but there are lots of ways to do things on PowerPoint. One option would be to go to Word Art, and you could choose some sort of word art to add your title. And you're going to want it at the top. You're going to want to make sure it's large enough that people can read it and it stands out. So remember, I'm asking you to do your title as a question. You can move the box around. You want to make sure it's in the center, unless you're there. You actually can do it different ways. So you could have it angled if you wanted to do it that way. You can change the size of it if you want to, the way that it's laid out. And if you go up to Home, it allows you to change the text size as well, just like with your regular text. So you can play around with that a little bit. It's usually a good idea to have the text box as close as possible around the text so that you can align it more easily with things as you're starting to add stuff. Okay, so that's one way. Another thing you can do is as long as a box is selected, I can just hit delete on the keyboard. It deletes the whole thing. And you can also insert just a regular text box. It will look small at first, but it fits itself around your text. So You can put your text in there, and again, if you select the whole box and go up to the tools at the top, ribbon, you can change the size of the text again. You can choose to center it if you want to. You can change the font, of course. You can change the color. Again, if you wanted to, you could turn it, leave it straight. The arrow keys can also be used to move things around on PowerPoint. So that's how you're going to change the dimensions, background, and add a title to your infographic. Of course, you want to make sure that you're often saving. So you're going to go up to File, the File tab, and go to Save As, and name this your last name, and then infographic. And we want to save it, you want to save it into your H drive. So you always go to Computer and find the one with the H next to it, and it's going to have your username, and double click on it. And hopefully you've made a folder for our class. So you're going to find that folder and click Save. And now it's saved in there. You can open it from there next time. And also if you make changes now, you just click File Save, and it will automatically save it into the right spot with the right name. All right, have fun.